Hello and welcome to the Madden 22 Trade Grid explanation. I know I did one of these videos last year to help try and explain the trade grid and the system we were implementing. This year I've obviously increased transparency by releasing the full spreadsheet on how player determines go through a process of valuation where we try and find what are ideal ranges for player builds, and how do we categorize the sort of the boundaries for player builds, whether that be by age, overall, unique traits, but also maintaining a degree of flexibility in the market for people to offer what they think's fair, but also accept offers because they might be motivated sellers. So here you'll see two trade grids, one for normal and star dev traits, one for superstar and X Factor. This is still an ongoing review process and will be up to the start of the league in September. Typically, what you want to do is start out with a valuation on normal or evaluation superstar, and there's a modifier here for higher dev based on star devs and X factors. Here we have the value range. Here we have the value zone. Obviously I've highlighted the modifiers. Here's a couple of examples and some explanations on the modifiers. So if we go through each aspect, you'll notice here there's some dotted line boundaries. These are the sort of transitions to soft caps and hard caps on XP and regression. They apply a little bit less to the superstar and X factor, mainly because players, if they're still superstar and X factor, have a degree of regression proofing and also earn XP at a decent rate still within the soft cap, which is 26 to 29. The valuations here, what I've tried to do is break valuations into sort of sets of 3 per round. So what you got to think is, right, low, mid, high within the round. So if you are in the first round, you're going to have your sort of top 10s, your middles where your non-playoff teams occur, and then your playoff teams. So you will see here, first plus is sort of the equivalent of a top 10, first is a mid-round, and a low first is sort of a playoff pick. That also moves sort of into the high second, i.e. the top 10 in the second, and you'll see it more outlined here, which is high through to low third. So try and think of it as high, mid, low. And that's also applied with the tweaking the modifiers here. So again, we want some flexibility on what people are able to offer and accept, whilst keeping it within the realms of sim. So as an example, say for instance you want to pick up a 26-year-old star dev, 82 overall O lineman. So we're 26 overall, we move up to the sort of 82, so we're in that 80 band, which says we are looking at something in the region of a third. And remember we said it was an O lineman and it was star dev, so we have a higher dev, which is about move up 1 block within a round, also maybe move up an entire half a round. Again, it could be that because you're 26, then you're like, well, he's still got some development potential left. I'd like to get an extra half a round on that, and it's an O lineman, so it's a premium position, and probably getting maybe another half a round there. So I'm looking at a third as my base, but but I could move up maybe to a high third, maybe even a low second. So if I've got an 82 overall 26-year-old star dev O lineman, and someone offers me say pick 28 in the second round, that is going to be a decent valuation. I've taken account of my base value and then also the increase on modifiers, again adding some flexibility. I might get a bidding war, which maybe someone that pick on offer, maybe someone offers me pick 18 in the second round. I'm like, cool, got a bidding war, and then the other player counters with, hang on, I'll give you, the high second rounder, pick 28 in the second, but I'll also bolt on a fourth or maybe a third. To up the valuation, and you can have the bidding wars. However, if someone just jumped in and said, right, I'll offer you a late first for that, what that does is it breaks the market structure. So that's no longer within a sim market structure, that's now in a sort of outside sim bidding war. And if that trade was to go through for a first rounder, then it would get knocked back by the approvers. But within that rounds of the seconds with the sweeteners and all that is sim. Similarly, there could be an absolute ton of O linemen on the market, and you want to generate cap space, but you want some value there. Someone offers you that mid third, even though with the modifiers are on, you might take it. you might take it because you're like, oh, there's tons of things on the market. Someone's offering me mid-third. I want Rid. Let's just take it. So there is stuff in there for contract penalties as well. So if you're the person might want to offer you a trade for, say, like a QB, but for you to give up that QB, you would take a huge cap hit. You say, look, I need a sweetener because I'm the one taking the massive cap hit here, and you're the one who wants the QB. That's where the contract penalty plays in. Maybe there's a contract benefit. Someone's on a rookie deal with 2 years left. That's really cheap, especially if they're higher overall. So you might have like a 25-year-old 90 overall rookie with 2 years left. Think of like the Brandon Cooks trades when he went to when he was traded on his rookie deal, and it's so you get the maximum efficiency on your cap, but you're going to pay the premium for it. So there you might say, right, well, is there sort of low first, high second with that contract benefit? I'm definitely looking for a first. I'm definitely on that higher range here. And if someone say offered me pick 23, which is sort of this pick here, I'm not going to balk at it, and the approvers are going to think, pick 23, it's a mid-ish round pick. He's going to get a really good, really cheap player for a few years, not have to pay for it. Yes, let's do it. The value zone here is there to just represent approximately what you're moving up. So you consider each block fits within that center circle, and a half round bonus is going to be this mid circle, and a full round bonus is going to be this outside circle. So you imagine I've got a player that's valued, say, as a 5th rounder, but they are a QB, they're a really good build still, they've got a decent contract benefit because the cap's eaten by the trading team. Then you might move up an entire one. So instead of being a 5th rounder, it's like, all right, you're going to pay a 3rd for that QB. That's what it's trying to represent. It's trying to represent the total move up or the partial move up in value, i.e. like between grids. Again, going back to this, try and think of draft rounds of blocks of 3, which is why you're moving up the modifiers in thirds, halves, wholes, that type of thing. So that's what the trade grid's trying to represent. To go through some other things, if you're just exchanging pure draft picks and they're all in the same year, use the Jimmy Johnson chart. If you're exchanging draft picks and some are maybe for the following year, then you're going to want to devalue the following year's picks, and typically we decay it by about a round. So if someone offers you a next first, consider it a current second, because you lose an entire year of development opportunity on that player that you're going to draft with next first. Also, we have pick decay. So over the course of the season, obviously a first in the first draft is worth more than the first in the final draft. So take that into account when you're trading, that if you're going to get some pick decay in the 4th draft, but you want to add some premium for first draft, but typically 2nd and 3rd drafts, the values are going to be representative. And then you should assess coach strength. So if I'm going to offer you a pick and I'm claiming it's going to be like a terrible pick, like a top 10 pick in the first, don't believe me. It's not to big myself up too much there, but it's like, you look at the recent history, even if they've got a bad team, it's like, right, you've got a bad team, but you know what you're doing. So, I'm not going to come to you a top 10 pick. Maybe you're a mid-round pick instead. You've got a risk of maybe not making playoffs with your bad team. But if you've got a decent coach with a decent team, then you're only ever going to consider playoff contention. They might argue, no, there's a bit of variability, maybe I've got a strong division, let's consider it a mid. It's like, no, you're a good coach with a good team, let's consider it a playoff pick for now. Some examples of modifiers, here we are. We have QBs are always overvalued. Rare positions, I've included offensive linemen here, but if the free agency is full of offensive linemen, maybe the premium doesn't count. Maybe that running backs, people maybe undervalue them, so you might even take off a little bit. You might be like, I'm not going to offer you a sort of a premium for, say, like a guard if there's a ton of guards out there or the draft is loaded. Unique or desirable abilities are one. So obviously we're putting abilities back on. You want to just double check, like, do they have something I really want, especially if we're going fixed abilities where you can't edit them. So you might add on, say, half a round if someone's got like an insane great ability that you want. We've already talked about higher dev. Freak build is, does this Madden NFL player, can it not be generated by the draft classes? And that's a freak build. That means that you can, imagine like a Megatron. If Madden can't recreate him in the gen class, then he's got some value because he can do extraordinary things. A prototype build should be considered if you're looking at the Gen class and you're looking at those high combine players. The ones that everyone desires, even if they've got bad grades, even if they're like B minus, but their combine is astounding, then you're going to put additional value on that equivalent type of player. Contract benefit, again, are you receiving a cheap contract because the other team took all the cap? Are you receiving a long contract, say like on a rookie deal? And then contract penalty. So if someone approaches someone else really wanting a player, but they're going to take a massive hit on it, then it says devalue. It says it's a penalty, but what it should be is they need to add a sweetener. That whatever they offer is devalued. So if they offer you a player, that doesn't have a big cap hit, and you do have a big cap hit, you want to lessen the value of the player they offer you. Bad build, so you might have running backs with low speed, you might have D linemen with low strength, so you want to take some off. Kickers, punters and fullbacks, you want to devalue a fair amount. I've just said approximately 2 rounds there. So if someone offers you a superstar dev, 26-year-old kicker who's 85 overall, they're like, oh, he's worth a first. He's like, not really. You're gonna pay something like a third or a fourth for that. You want to devalue it a fair amount. I'm hoping to bring back injury risk this year, and therefore anything below around 80 to low 80s, you should account for. Again, there's different weighting, so if someone's got 70 injury, that's going to carry a different weighting than if someone has 78 injury. But you want to factor that in on your trades. You want to say, look, this player is worth a third, but he's got really low injury, and it's significant enough that I'm taking the big risk on the trade that I'm going to lose out on his playing time. So let's you offer me a late third, or you add a sweetener, so you do a round swap. So he's worth a third, but maybe they give you a fourth as well. So you do like a round trade back just to offset the injury risk there. And that is all. Oh, the other one I was going to mention, 5th, 6th and 7th. They don't have much detail there because in trading they are fluff. All the value on players is 4th round or above, and therefore if you want to include some 5th, 6th and 7th in the trade, the trade committee aren't going to wince if there's a few of them in there. If you need to add a sweetener to push it over the line in the market, 5th, 6th and 7th, grand. Or swapping roundabouts. We will look at the 1st to the 4ths as the main weighting in trades versus a player. Remember to keep trades bang bang. We've got the flag system, so you want to offer a pick for a player, maybe 2 picks for a player, maybe a player and a pick for a pick. 2 players, 1 player. Trying to keep things really simple if we're going to get 3-way trades, if we're going to get numerous items involved in a trade, like 6-7 items where it's 2 players and 2 picks for a player and a pick. We're going to start breaking that down. We're going to flag it. We're going to say, look, this is 2 separate trades. Do it as such. You have unlimited trades, but if you keep the trades relatively simple, the committee can just look at them and go, that is bang bang, it's pick player, done. Like I said, we want if you have to go a 1st, a 5th and a 6th, that's fluff, that's a sweetener. We're not going to look at the 5th and the 6th very much. We're going to go, right, it's a player for a 1st, and to get it over the line, you had to add some fluff, add some sweeteners. So yeah, this will be continually updated until the start of the league. You can review, you can try and put through some early trades. Be warned, if you do put through early trades, they could get revalued as we go through this review process. But yeah, have fun all, and happy Madden 22.